Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? Hope everyone's having a good Wednesday morning. Today we're going to be reviewing Tuesday, May 13th. We're doing this the following morning since for me, Wednesday, May 14th is not a trading day and I will not be seeking any participations actively. So, as always, information should not be considered an offer or enticement to buy, sell, or trade. And yes, let's move into the daily, or sorry, this is the weekly chart. Thought it would be a good idea to first highlight what the kind of weekly objective for me this week was and still is. As you can see, I've highlighted this accumulation range here, so I'll be expecting price to trade up within the levels of this accumulation range, and then eventually, if this imbalance here is proven to be inversed, we'll eventually see the highs of the weekly accumulation range, and from there that would give us all-time highs. So as you can see, this screenshot was taken at May 13, 2025, 8:35 at Eastern Time, and we see that on this day we also had CPI at 8:30 a.m. So this was after CPI is made. So let's move into the daily chart. I was on the weekly chart just to make you more familiar with the arrays that we're going to be highlighting and how they fall into the daily chart. So an array that was not visible on the weekly, but is visible in the daily is we have this sell side inefficiency, buy side imbalance from this low here to this high here, CPI. As you can see, that's strong on. And then we have the parameters that we had on the previous slide, this weekly balance here. Those are the same parameters that we have drawn on the daily chart. As you can see, this day following Monday, we opened, traded lower, traded higher, just fell beneath the CPI, but we fully breached the imbalance that we have on the daily. And then we traded lower and closed within the daily CPI. So here we have the hourly chart. As you can see, we have made that open drawn on 20,144.25. We have our opening range gap. I mentioned in my previous video that I want to start to pay more attention towards the opening range gap as it's something that I usually ignore within my trading, and it's something that I want to work on. So generally the entire day since 9 a.m. and following 8:30 a.m. CPI, it was all just a constant displacement higher with no trades that were given to me since we did not have a pure manipulation beneath in that open, and that's a strict rule. And this screenshot was taken May 14, 2025, 10:10 UTC4, so just a couple of minutes ago. And before we move into the match chart and what I was looking for intraday, I want to take your attention towards this screenshot, which was also taken 2 minutes prior, or sorry, after the last slide. So 10:12, May 14, 2025, Eastern Time, UTC -4. Notice that on Monday, our regulatory hours closing time, which is at 4:30, right around on this candle, and then 9:30 open, we left a big opening range gap from this close here toward this open here. There are quadrants within this range that have yet to be filled, and moving into May 13th, I wanted to keep this in mind, and I wanted to just basically have the fact that we still have lower arrays to fulfill in mind, and to not get too excited with the fact that we want to see movement higher. On the long run, of course, we do want to see movement higher, but there are just some conditions that don't allow us to fully want to participate in those moves yet. And as you can see here, we have 9:30 open for May 13. Have the opening range gap going on. and then open still at the same level. Over here we have the minutes chart again. This was also taken at May 13, 2025, 8:54 prior to the opening bell. Eastern time again, UTC -4. You can see where we have our minute open. We have this 15-minute imbalance here that I've drawn on the 1 minute chart. And you can see that before 9:30, I was hoping to happen because of the fact that we had open opening range gaps lower, and that I wanted to see them get filled before we could start to see any confidence moves higher. I wanted to see these equal lows be taken, as well as these equal lows and a move beneath midnight open, touching the relative equal lows on the liquidity. And obviously, when I was anticipating this was around just 20 minutes, 24 minutes after the CPI, which is this candle here. So trying to go into longs today was not the best idea. I was trying to trade the manipulation move today, since this is one of my active trading days for the week. Tuesday was a trading day for me, and I went into the day not looking for longs, not because it's not my strong liquidity for the higher time frame, but it makes sense to try to trade the manipulation intraday for then price in the following days to follow up with continued distribution. But obviously, with how we saw price close off yesterday, that is not what we ended up doing. Instead, we left the sell side liquidity and we left the relative equal lows and we left the midnight open and the opening range gap that we had created previously, or sorry, not previously, at 9:30. It's not visible here because it's 8:45. We had left all those arrays we had not touched into, or we had not manipulated beneath those arrays, and we just distributed towards the daily CPI. So moving into the price action that we had generated over the May 13 morning session. Here we have the opening candle, 9:30 candle. That's where the opening range gap high was formed. Notice how as that opened, we traded lower. We also opened a new candle here, which souped this low here. We failed to get into the gap here, and after I saw this third soup occurring, my hopes in expecting price to reach into those red equal lows that were generated over the low resistance run pre-market and overnight just went down, and I started to expect, okay, we might not get a setup towards higher prices, and today might just keep extending. And I just kept note of the levels that had to be delivered to eventually. So after we moved into you can see the consequent encroachment level, touched into perfectly of the opening range gap. And then from there, we souped this pre-market low, opened higher, first percent per value gap. We move away from it. Accumulation, we run away from it. We touch into this per value gap here. Run higher, touch into that daily CPI, run higher, consequent encroachment level. Fair value gap here that held price towards and through consequent encroachment level, and here we see that we're using the consequent encroachment level as resistance once. And before moving on to the afternoon, I just want to fill you in with how price traded within daily CPI. So you can see after we traded through it using this fair value gap here, we used the midpoint as resistance, trading higher back to the upper, or sorry, high of the daily CPI. Traded lower from there, back higher. Then we kind of just traded sideways until we had the afternoon opening range, which we will get into more in-depth detail of that. From 1:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. we have the afternoon opening range with the first percent per value gap of the afternoon. We jacked that out in time, and we also had relatively equal lows, one at 20,025, which is this low here, this low here. It's labeled with this line as relatively equal lows. So we had that gap form, drag it out in time, we see we have a bit of accumulation in it. Then we run beneath it one time, back above it, and then during the final hour is where we distributed using the consequent encroachment level of the acting open range gap. Um, we take the midpoint of that and that dropped us within the final hour towards the relative equal lows. That was generally it for this day's trading. No trades for me personally. You could have been long taking 10 silver bullet if that aligns with your rules, but just for me personally, I was not able to catch a trade. And May 14, which is right now, I will not be trading, and hopefully Thursday and Friday will be better trading days for. Thank you all for watching, and as always, Lord willing, be safe.